I'm Nathan and welcome to Stories with a Twang. I know this episode is a little short, but I promise it'll all be worth it when we celebrate 100 episodes of Stories with a Twang next time. Today's episode is called I'm So Proud of My Son for No Longer Being Afraid of the Dark by Playful Donut 232. He was always so petrified. He used to climb into bed with my wife and me every night.
Mommy, Daddy, I'm afraid of the dark.
This has become a routine. We tried everything, lying in bed with him until he fell asleep, nightlights, teddy bears, nothing worked. I tried to convince my wife on many occasions to just let him sleep with us at night, but she refused and said it was a phase. We had to be consistent. This habit broke when we decided to move from our 2-bedroom flat into our first real home. We had been saving for this home for almost 10 years, and it was everything we had dreamed of. Real wood flooring, rooms so spacious that if you yelled, it would echo, and a huge back garden. The first night we went to bed, I was sure our son would climb into bed with us. I was stunned when we didn't wake up until 9 a.m., and he was still asleep. I sat at the table, sipping my morning coffee and reading the paper when he came toddling downstairs. "Good morning, buddy. I see you slept all night in your big boy bed all by yourself." I couldn't contain my excitement. It may sound ridiculous, but I was worried this would go on forever. He let out a little chuckle.
Don't be silly, Daddy. I wasn't alone.
I was instantly confused. Did my wife sneak into his room and sleep with him? Did he get into our bed and then go back in the morning? "What do you mean, son? I didn't hear you once."
My friend was with me,
he said with a huge grin on his face.
Daddy, can I watch Bluey while eating breakfast this morning?
He innocently asked, giving puppy dog eyes. "No, son, we've just got that sofa and I don't want it covered in eggs." Suddenly, what he had said a moment before dawned on me. "Son, what friend?" I asked, puzzled.
My friend,
he smiled.
Please, Dad, I won't get any eggs anywhere, I promise,
he begged. "Not today, little one. Your mom would go crazy at me. Maybe tomorrow."
Oh.
He frowned, slumped down at the table. He began munching his breakfast, eating as fast as he could so he wouldn't miss the new episode. Later that day, I spoke to my wife and told her about what our child had said earlier. She told me not to overthink it. If anything, it's a good thing that he has an imaginary friend, especially if it helps him go to sleep. I agreed and continued with his bedtime routine. I couldn't believe it when I woke up and he wasn't sandwiched between us for the second night in a row. Again, I went downstairs to have my coffee and read my newspaper. Suddenly, he came flying down the stairs.
Daddy, can we go to the park today?
He said as if he had just come up with the greatest idea ever. "Of course we can," I laughed slightly, "especially since you slept all alone again." He looked at me, confused.
Daddy, I've told you, I'm not alone. My friend is with me.
I decided to entertain him. "Oh yeah? What does this friend look like?" His face brightened up again.
I can't see much of his face because he only comes out of the wardrobe when it's dark. He has a big smile and long fingernails. He taps them on the edge of the bed to help me sleep.
Needless to say, I was slightly disturbed. That sounded terrifying to me, but kids are so imaginative and say all kinds of crazy things. "Wow, he sounds cool. What's his name?"
He told me not to tell you.
He sang in a cheeky way, as if he thought it was funny that I wasn't allowed to be in on the secret. Come on, tell me, and I'll let you watch Bluey while you eat your breakfast today. I smirked, thinking I had won the war.
Really?
He exclaimed. Then suddenly he paused. His face went blank. He turned around and looked toward the ajar coat room that was in the hallway separating the kitchen and the living room. He turned back around, lowered his head.
I can't tell you, Daddy,
he said, sounding rather disappointed. He hopped up to the kitchen table, looking defeated, and started eating his toast. I won't lie, I got kind of freaked out. I peered into the hallway, into the coat room. Nothing seemed amiss. It was dark, as it needed a light bulb, but nothing out of the ordinary. My wife's words ran through my head. This was a good thing. That night, he was rather tuckered out from his day at the park. My wife and I were excited to have a full night together, and we were going to make the most of it, eating junk food in bed while watching a movie, something we hadn't been able to do since our son was born. Suddenly, all the fizzy pop hit me, and I got up to go to the bathroom. I hopped out of bed and made my way to the bathroom. I thought maybe I'd check on our little man and his friend on the way. I placed my hand on the doorknob and my blood ran cold. Before I got a chance to open the door, I heard... It sounded just like nails on wood. I froze, my heart thumping wildly in my chest. The sound was unmistakable, a slow, deliberate tapping, like fingernails drumming against the wooden bed frame. My hand trembled as I finally mustered the courage to turn the knob and push the door open. The room was bathed in a soft, eerie glow from the nightlight. I scanned the room quickly, my eyes darting to the wardrobe first. It stood slightly ajar, casting a long shadow across the floor. But it was the bed that held my attention. There he was, my son, sound asleep, a peaceful expression on his face. But the tapping continued, rhythmic and persistent. I swallowed hard and took a cautious step toward the wardrobe, my mind racing with every conceivable explanation. Perhaps it was a branch tapping against the window, or maybe a loose floorboard. I needed to see, to reassure myself that it was nothing more than a child's vivid imagination. With each step, the tapping grew louder, more insistent. I reached out and pulled the wardrobe door open, expecting to see nothing but a collection of small clothes and toys. Instead, my breath caught in my throat. The wardrobe was empty, save for a few hangers swaying slightly, as if disturbed by a breeze. And then a chill ran down my spine. From behind me, I heard a soft, almost inaudible whisper. I told him not to tell you. I spun around, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The room was empty, apart from my son, still sound asleep. I backed away slowly, unable to tear my eyes away from the dark corners of the room. It felt as though something was watching me, something unseen and sinister. I closed the wardrobe door firmly, trying to steady my breathing. Just then, my son stirred and opened his eyes, looking straight at me.
Daddy,
he murmured sleepily.
My friend says you shouldn't be here.
I forced a smile, my voice trembling. It's all right, buddy. Go back to sleep. He nodded and closed his eyes again, a serene smile on his face. I backed out of the room, closing the door behind me as quietly as possible. As I stood in the hallway, the tapping came to a halt. I hurried back to our bedroom, my mind racing. My wife looked up from her book, concern etched on her face. Everything all right? She asked. I nodded, though I was far from convinced. Just a branch against the window, I lied, trying to convince myself as much as her. But as I lie down next to her, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The house, which had once seemed to be perfect, now felt ominous and foreboding. And the words of my son echoed in my mind. I wasn't alone. As I drifted off to sleep, I couldn't help but wonder about the friend who only came out of the wardrobe when it was dark, with a big smile and long fingernails. The friend who tapped on the edge of the bed to help him sleep. And for the first time since I was little, I found myself petrified of the dark. Suddenly, a creak of the wardrobe sounded. My eyes snapped open to stare at the ceiling. I couldn't move as my chest began pounding. Alright everyone, that's it for this week's story. I would like to give a giant thank you to Playful Donut 232 for an incredible story. And just a reminder that next time will be 100 episodes of Stories with a Twang. I hope you stick around and listen. If you have any stories you would like me to read on the show, you can send them on over to storieswithatwang@gmail.com. The show is on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Stories with a Twang Podcast. You know it would mean an awful lot if you could rate and review the show wherever you listen, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube as well. It could really help the show grow. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and until next time, remember that a little twang goes a long way.